There we go.
How you doing?
There she go. Hello.
How are you?
All right, all right.
Hey.
What's up? What's up?
Well, I want to
We in here.
I want to welcome you to Country Cousins Podcast. I am. Let me change my name real quick. I am Emmett Pill. Chris Dillon. Emmett Pill. Emmett Pill is this cartoon I created. We'll get into that one day.
I'm a little dark.
We'll get into that one day.
You are.
So we're gonna jump right into it, man. John, introduce our guest, brother.
Yeah, we got the lovely and beautiful, amazing Miss Tephanie Little, an inspiring doctor in the psychology field. I go by the name of Johnny Raymond, aka Mr. SRTA. We're gonna get into this thing today. We want to hear what you got to say. We want to hear about your story and what brought you to the psychology field.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So was that the first question?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna introduce you to my background. Don't think I live like this. It's just my background. This is my lair, the Ninja Turtles lair. You know, we got a pizza box chair right here. We got a beautiful 13-inch screen back here in the back. We have some sushi couches. Yeah. You know, sushi chairs, bing bag chair. You know what I'm saying? Make yourself at home. Anyway, John, carry on, brother.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, we can just go and get into basically what got you into the psychology field, where you come from, what you do. Let the people know.
So, your question was what made me want to pursue a career in psychology?
Exactly.
Okay. I mean, I've always loved working with children. I've always wanted to help people. When I went to undergrad, I knew that I wanted to go into the field of psychology, but I didn't know what area. So in undergrad, I thought that I wanted to work with children who were abused, who were dealing with trauma and things like that. But then when I graduated from Elizabeth City State University, I moved to Texas, and I worked at a residential treatment facility for children who were wards of the state. And that was an experience. It was very heart-wrenching. It was just a lot of different variables that made me question, was it the field? Was it the area for me? Because I guess graduating with the psychology degree, I kind of went with the mentality that I was going to save the world, and it takes more than one person to make a difference. So in that area, it was hard being a person that cared and working with people who just needed a job. So I was like, well, maybe I can find a different area where I can make more of a meaningful difference and not just feel like I'm stagnant. So I found an ad that read applied behavior analysis, and this was around maybe 2010. So I read it, I applied for the job. I realized it was something that I really enjoyed doing, and I saw meaningful changes within the first year of being in the field. So it's a field, it's an area of psychology. What it looks at is we work on, which my main clientele base is children with autism and related disorders. So I do applied behavior analysis therapy, which looks at working on skills of social significance. And it's so many different components to it. And ABA works for everyone. I just specialize in applied behavior analysis with children with autism. So that's a short story as to how I got into the field. But I've been in it for 11 years now. I just recently transitioned into having my own practice. I'm currently in my third year of my PhD program in applied behavior analysis, and I love what I do.
Damn.
I'm also an adjunct professor.
Got to give it up for you.
Okay.
That's good shit, man. That's good shit.
Intelligence.
I have a statement.
Yeah.
I used to be a teacher. I used to be a PE teacher, and one of my statements was
Okay.
Kids are cool, adults are assholes. It's simple.
Yes.
Kids are cool, adults are assholes. Like a kid, man.
And I
go ahead.
No, I said I would agree 100% with that statement, because what you will learn, like, it's the learning history. So children have a shorter learning history, so it's easier for them to adapt to changes versus adults. They've been learning and doing these certain things for years now. So there you go. Exactly. That's why I work with children.
That's the truth, man. Like, I have a brief history of working with kids with Asperger's and autism. Real brief. And from what I gained to understand, I was telling John about this the other day, man. There was a very thin line between intelligent and spectrum. Could you speak on that?
I would say that the spectrum is broad. You know, it's one of those things where there's always a deficit, and it looks like you want a child with autism can excel in one area, and then other areas they can just be like, wow, like you really see the autism characteristics. But one thing about autism is that it looks different in everyone, so you really can't put a face to autism. It's just you got to just go by the core deficits and learn the child and understand their differences and try to teach based on how they learn. And
that's
from
true.
there.
That's true, man. That's so true. I'm glad.
One of the things I kind of like think about is, especially when it comes to children with autism, how do parents kind of teach their children how to deal with children with autism? Because through my experience of going to school, it wasn't I don't want to use the word normal. It wasn't seen that much. So when kids see things that they don't see much, they tend to pick on that. So how would you prepare your child that, hey, you're going to school today, you may see a child that maybe looks different, but treat them like you would treat anybody else, just to make, children with autism feel comfortable?
Yeah, and I think that is family, specific, because I feel like, people perish for lack of knowledge. So if a child doesn't know or hasn't been taught, then they don't know any better. But like, it takes a village for them to understand, like, okay, understand differences, but that comes from their learning history at home. Like, I know for my children, I exposed them early to children who had differences, that were, had special needs. I also included them in sessions so they can understand the differences. So when they started grade school, they can know, okay, this child is different. It doesn't necessarily mean something is wrong, because something is not wrong. They just have a diagnosis, have to learn something's not wrong. I don't like putting children with special needs in a specific category, although they need a different kind of help when it comes to learning and developing, but they're still children. It just looks different in the way they learn.
That's real, man. I agree. Inclusion is the best way that you can introduce these kids to different situations, different people, all this. And like I say, my experience working with kids with autism and Asperger's, introducing them to the community, showing them different skills, showing them how to wash clothes or make their bed or put on socks and different things like that we take advantage of. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, man.
Everything we're doing now, I teach. Everything that we're doing now, I teach. How to communicate, how to engage in eye contact, how to wait, how to reciprocate, based on what is being taught, like, or things like that. Just like everything we take for granted, the things that we learn and develop throughout the years, like I got to teach on a day-to-day basis to children with special needs.
Yeah, that's real, man. I like once again, talking to John, I came up with this theory. I said that kids with autism and AIG kids are kind of in the same boat, so to speak, simply because they go to individual classes, right? They take tests apart from everybody else, and that's why I said earlier, just to compound on what I said earlier, that's why I think it's a very small line between, spectrum and, AIG.
Yeah, because you get some children with autism who are smarter than you. Like, I've met several children where they ask me questions and I'm like, I don't know that answer. Like, how do you know that answer? Can you elaborate and tell me more?
That's real.
So it's really, that's why I say you look at a child based on how they learn, because it's like they're still children and they just learn different, and
that's real.
Go from there. Like, that's just my rule of thumb. Like, with working with children, being a mom, having neurotypical developing boys, like, it's just like a child is a child. And in order to help that child develop, you have to learn that. You have to learn what works for them. Like, I can yell at my older son and he will get the picture, but I have to talk a certain way to my younger son because he doesn't respond well when I yell. So it's just like understanding the differences in my children is going to help them grow and develop. And that's the same thing with my children with autism that I teach. I'm just looking at their differences as well and teaching them based on how they learn.
I got you.
Exactly. So you would say that it is a good idea for like parents to kind of like, I don't know, volunteer their time with their kids to reach out to schools of the deaf, schools of the blind, and places like that to kind of get their kids familiar with dealing and handling people with, I don't want to call it special needs, or, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's
but it is. They are
autism or anything.
Needs. Like, yeah, I think just teaching your child to be kind, like, because that goes in to play with racism, with socioeconomic status, like that. Like, when you teach a child to be kind and to not judge others based on what they see, then that works across the board, because like everybody is different in their own way, like if you really think about it. But if you teach people to just embrace people for who they are, and not if you're not used to certain things, it doesn't matter. Just embracing people in general, it'll work across the board.
That's real, man. That's real. Do you have
several stories? Yeah, I have several stories. I mean, it's just a matter of like you said, acceptance. Like, I'm not afraid to go out into the community, and if my client is acting out, aggressing or whatever, I always am mindful of like how to maneuver in those type of situations. So like, for instance, I had a client, he was 17 at the time. He was vocal, so his verbal communication is using an alternative communication device. And he struggled with transitions and things of that nature. And when he had to transition, he would aggress towards himself. So he would engage in self-injurious behavior. And he was 6'2", and here I am 5'5", and we're out in the mall, and we had to go to a different store, and out of nowhere, he just flops on the floor and starts punching himself. So, everybody was looking. I just went over to him and redirected him to use his communication device to request for what he wanted, because it's called functional communication training. So like, a lot of children who engage in maladaptive behaviors, who have limited communication skills, have learned that if they aggress or engage in certain behaviors, they're going to get access to what they want. So my therapy teaches functional communication. So instead of engaging in those behaviors to get what you want, you request using your communication device. So that's the intervention that we have to put in place after learning why the behavior is occurring. So I basically just went into the functional communication training on site at the mall. I was able to redirect him. When it comes to him aggressing towards himself, I just practice using physical guidance and just putting his hands down. and then going from there. So like he can't, if I'm teaching him functional communication training, he has to use his communication device. He can't hit himself at the same time as using his communication device. So you're teaching like behaviors that are incompatible to the behavior that you're trying to change. So it's just a matter of like working through it and not being ashamed of who's watching. Like, I don't care. Like, you can look at me like I'm crazy. I'm going to work through this behavior. I don't care if it takes 2 seconds or 30 minutes. If I have to sit in the mall for 30 minutes to get him to follow through, we're just sitting in the mall on the floor. That's how I do.
Hey, Chris. Hey, Chris. Now, don't let her try to trick you up with that. He's 6'2", she 5'5". Somebody be in the gym all day now.
Come on.
Somebody be in the gym. Somebody can handle themselves. Somebody be in the gym all day. Don't let her fool you.
Oh, I can.
Don't let her fool you.
We're going to get to the Sun Dress Killa in a minute. We're going to get to that in a second now. Miss Sun Dress Killa. We're going to get to that in a second. But,
yeah.
So I had a situation, right? This one guy, I'm not going to say his name, this one company in Elizabeth City. This guy had a disorder. Well, I wouldn't even call it a disorder. Let me correct myself on that. He had a problem with touching himself wherever we went. Mm-hmm. So library, mm-hmm. Pizza Hut, wherever, he was touching himself. Mm-hmm. And when I say touching himself, I'm talking about he going to town. Like he going to handle his business.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I'm talking to his mom about it, and she's like, it's not a problem. And I'm like, nah, bro, you can't be doing that out with me and then getting in my car and then touching my daggone seatbelt and my, nah, bro, that ain't working. So, you know what I'm saying? It was just, just interesting.
So in that situation, because so that's what like skills, like socially significance, like how is it socially valid and how would you teach that? So people touch themselves, like we're old enough, that's what people do, but just it would be a matter of teaching him when it was appropriate to touch versus when it's not appropriate, and setting up an intervention where he knows, like if you go into your room, like if he's not, like based on his learning level, like putting different interventions in place to teach him where it's appropriate, when it's not appropriate to touch. Because you don't want to take it away because it's something, it's normal, like people do it. But it's just a matter of when people do it that he needs to learn.
Right. You ain't lying.
That's why mom probably, I don't mind.
I had a conversation. He was just talking that you should be telling me about this. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of crazy.
Yeah, and he could get fired because some things are normal, but when you at a job, you have a code that you need to comply with.
You can't let that man, like, because he probably was like, man, I'm gonna let this man hit the blunt. He probably start acting normal. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. People got different mindsets with it. Man. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just want to say, my brother's probably going to join in here in a minute. He kind of want to join in, so he's going to be a part of the discussion too. But I do want to ask you a question because about ADD. Is that kind of in the same field with what you do, like attention deficit disorder?
I can definitely work with the child with. I mean, yeah, it's a related disorder. So I have several clients with ADD and autism.
Okay, because like my sister spoke to me about I guess my nephew must have mild version of it where like he's okay, but then like sometimes like he's functional like regular people, but sometimes when it comes to like doing work and stuff, either I don't know if I don't know how to explain it. Maybe he's too advanced for like the work or something, or if he finishes his work, like he's real hyperactive. Like he can't really focus on just like one thing. It's like a bunch of, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how to call it, but he needs to be calmed down. So he takes his medicine, and then like he even recognizes it himself. Like he'll go to his mom and be like, "Mom, I need to take my medicine." Like he knows it himself. Like does that sometimes come up?
Like acknowledging, like looking at medication management, or you're just saying like being able to focus on one task at a time.
Just knowing that, like, I guess being able to focus, or do sometimes people recognize within themselves, like, okay, something ain't right. I know, like, when I use my medicine, I calm down more. Like, I feel myself being a little too hyper. Do you think that's something that he can grow out of having to use medicine if he can recognize that he needs to calm down, or is that just like something that he has to do?
I mean, I wouldn't be able to like clinically say how he would or what he could do, considering I don't know him and I haven't like assessed him. But I mean, medication management is not, you don't want to use it for a lifetime. So, you know, hopefully he can have some sort of supports in place to, you know, be able to wean off the medicine. I mean, I'll speak from my own experiences. Like, I've always known I had, you know, undiagnosed ADHD, and I would always like laugh about it and joke about it because I've always been very smart, but I've been scattered. So I'm like smart but scattered. So it was fine. It was fine. Undergrad was fine. You know, grad school was fine. I was able to, you know, just wait to the last minute and get everything done because I wasn't able to focus long enough to like do stuff in a systematic way. So I always procrastinated. And like going into my PhD program, I thought I'm gonna be able to do the same thing. I mean, I got through undergrad and my master's, so I'm good. And it wasn't until into my second year that I realized, not good. I am falling behind. I cannot focus. I am having extreme anxiety because of the amount of work that I have to do. And after 33 years, I was actually diagnosed with ADHD. And now I'm on medication. And it's like one of those things where my brain is like functioning at a level that I've never seen as it relates to being able to compartmentalize and actually get things done on a day-to-day basis. So, I mean, I am not one to say give children medicine at the beginning. I'm always like, let's weigh out the options and see what the alternatives are prior to providing medication, because they, you know, that would be the last resort for me. And I mean, speaking for myself, it took me 33 years to get on it. So, you know, it's just a matter of how your brain works.
That's real.
I mean, I was able to function. I was able to, you know, get a master's degree and, you know, do excel in my career, but all the while I had ADHD.
That's crazy. So like,
I might have had it in college. I might have had it because I was all over the place.
What made you finally decide to say, you know what, let me go get checked out, submain, you know what I'm saying? What made you?
Right. So if you know me, you would know that I am very ambitious. Like, I have always been a go-getter. I've always been like, if I set a plan, I'm going to, you know, see it come to pass. I'm going to do everything I have to do. I'm very resilient. I'm like a robot. But I, you know, been through some things in life, had a bad marriage, had to overcome that, and raising 2 kids by myself and starting to practice and getting a PhD and still trying to like have a personal life. It was just so much, being all things to all people and not enough to myself. So I realized that I needed to have an outlet. So I started therapy maybe 8 months ago. And like, you know, I just realized I'm Superwoman, but Superwoman has limits. Like, and I cannot do all things. And, you know, I realized that I needed to find a balance. So step by step, I started like making these, you know, little decisions. You know, maybe I should take a step back and focus on one thing at a time instead of doing everything at once. This past December, I made the choice to take a 14-week leave of absence from my PhD to study, to focus completely on my practice, because I have a lot of clients that are, it's just happening so fast. So I wanted to be able to find that balance so that I can be successful as a leader. And then just understanding that it's okay to balance and not feel like if I take a break, I'm failing at something. So it's all in a matter of like learning history, you know, as a Black woman, raised by a single Black mom. I'm the Bible Belt and pray about everything and, go through the motions. God will, he will make a way and, all those things. And that's very true. But God also gives us people who are specialized in areas. So he provides us those resources to seek other, outside help outside of praying. And it took me a long time to say, okay, God, maybe I need something else. And I mean, you're great. You are enough, but I need to figure out like how to balance everything that I'm doing. So taking a step back, eliminating all distractions. So when I decided to take a break from school, I decided to log out of all my social media accounts because in my mind, if I don't have time to do my PhD studies, I don't have time to scroll or look at or like or add pictures or anything. So just balancing, honestly, just eliminating distractions and balancing and finding out the best ways that work for me.
Right.
That's real. Well,
damn. I want to, because especially being in the Black community, like, I'm glad you said something about therapy, because we as Black people, as far as the way we grow up, we don't deal, when somebody says therapy, you automatically think, oh, so what's wrong with them? Why they gotta go to therapy? Right. They crazy, they stupid, they in a straitjacket. And we really gotta break that mold, because I feel like therapy can really help you. And hey, I might need some therapy, because I mean, it's especially dealing with this road life and being out here on the road, being on your own so much. And if you know me, I'm a very sociable person. Like, I like being around folks. So being confined to one spot like a prison cell and doing that all day is really
you're breaking up, John, so I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? Hello? Oh, y'all can't hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
I think she went out.
Oh. Did she go out?
Yeah, I think so. She froze.
She done froze on us.
Yeah.
Oh,
she
man.
Hit us with the Betty White.
See if she can come back in here.
All right, we waiting on her.
Waiting on her. I guess you can pause this.
Hey man, we about to switch this thing up. We done hit the professional side. Now we got to hit the ratchet side. No, not ratchet.
Yeah.
Not saying ratchet.
Hey, you can pause this thing too while we waiting, but
like, you know what I'm saying? She just still like, oh well, that's what you need to do, but hopefully you won't have to take that forever.
Hopefully we get Tiff back in here. You can talk to her about that.
I don't know what just happened.
It's all right. Hey, we was going in and out for a little bit, but what I was saying was, I'm glad you brought up. Oh yeah, that's my brother. Anyways, I'm glad you brought up the therapy part, because in the Black community, we tend to look down on therapy, and I feel like, I think if everybody takes time to go through therapy, we can kind of communicate better and maybe stop some of this violence. If people just learn how to communicate and deal with things on a better spectrum.
It's real.
Yeah, it is. And it's just, I think like when I go back to working with why I work with children, like I love the saying that says it's easier to raise strong children than to repair like a broken man or something like that, because it is true. Like it's a matter of like understanding like a person's history and why they are the way they are, and the things that they've been through. And another thing, like just being able to teach how it's okay to express emotions, and to, as a man, be able to be emotional and not feel guilty about it, because you're going to be angry, you're going to be hard, you're going to be closed off if you don't. And I just feel like in our community, it's just like you're just told to be strong and that's it, but nobody equips you to have with the necessary tools to actually do that. Like, what does that look like?
Exactly.
What does it look like for everybody?
Exactly. Hey, bro, did you want to chime in on what you was talking about, so Tiff can kind of get a little understanding?
Hi, Tiff. Hi. So what while you were gone, I was chiming in the fact of me, like, I and about in the high school, and later I was diagnosed with manic depression, bipolar,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a difficult thing with being, as you were kind of touching on with my mom. It was always just, oh, when God will make a way. She's ending on medication. Like, you know, I don't think you need to be on that. And and like, you know, with her, eventually, like through enough dialogue, I got to a point where she will understand that, okay, well, this helps you, but to her, ends meets that, like, that's not the permanent solution. Like, you know, you pray on it, be all saying, still need to understand that, like, that's an important part of my life. If I'm in one, like, I can make that judgment call now of when I need to be medicated, when I'm not. But that's one thing that you just have to understand, that I do need to be medicated.
You just have to know, like, yourself, because same thing. I was like against medication. I was like, I'm not taking no medication. I don't need any medication, yada yada yada. And I was like, I can't focus. I can't function. Like, I'm upset, emotional, can't balance. I'm struggling in all these areas. And like, you can't be successful in everything, especially like somebody told me a jack of all trades is a master of none. So you gotta be able to balance like one thing or two things at a time and then go from there. So me at last year, November, my mental health was more important than anything, because if I can't function, I can't be successful. And if I'm doing all these things, I want to do it in a way where I can be successful in the long run. So I took a step back from everything and focused on me and realized what I needed.
No, John, for a few years back when I had posted that picture on Facebook of all the different meds I had taken, had to try, like a 3-month span. Like, it was crazy. Probably about 20 different medicine bottles, because like, you would make combinations of things. And actually what jogged her to actually have a dialogue and have that deep dive, guys, she jumped on me. She's like, why are you putting your personal business out here? Because people are calling me saying that you posted this on social media and you got all these meds and stuff. I'm like, I do have all these meds, and I think it's important to me to hold dialogue with people to see what you have.
Yeah, like, that's the thing about social media. Like, so many people are living a lie, and so many people are wearing a mask and being somebody.
Just be yourself. Did she freeze on me again?
Yeah, she froze.
Oh man, Chris not dipped out on me.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, that what she was touching on was that being a lie. Yeah, at that point in time, I thought it was important to, like, for my own growth, to be able to share that and let other people see, like, you know, what it is, and that it is real. Like, you know what I'm saying? That was something for me. And that's why, more so, like, a lot of that stuff prior, I would kind of keep it to myself and quiet, but it's therapeutic to be able to hold that dialogue and let people know what's going on. And then, so that way, hopefully, like, you know what I'm saying, if somebody else has a kid or someone else, then they'll know it's all right and it won't be shunned as it is in like, you know, the African American community.
Exactly. It's all right.
It's all good.
We'll make it work. It don't matter. I'm enjoying this dialogue.
We're gonna have choppers scream like T-Pain. Don't even don't even worry about it. So
but
the topic of conversation, man, African Americans afraid to get help. I wouldn't even say afraid, but what makes a person just say, you know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Fuck it. Whatever people think of. Because me and John talk, you know what I'm saying? What makes people, you know what I'm saying? What you got?
I think that's a question for people.
Such taboo in the African American community, guys. I can even say, like, probably about 2-3 years ago, when me and my girlfriend got serious and stuff, I suggested couples counseling, and she was just like, "Oh, what?" And like, we having problems. So I set it up, and we went and had couples counseling. Like, this ain't planning to get married stuff. This is just I understood the terms of, like, we're having problems in a relationship. These are fundamental issues. Issues are going to go on no matter what.
Fundamentals.
Together, like, that's just gonna keep. So if we don't handle the structure of these arguments, we're gonna keep the argument will change, but still the same structure, and it's gonna continue to go on and on and on. Yeah. And then biggest problem I had, her being an African American male, is when we sit down and like session 2, and he asked, he's like, so how's everything this week? He's just like, oh, it's fine. I was like, Brad has been fine. I'm like, no, everything has not been fine. She doesn't want to talk. Like, that's the whole point. We're here and I'm paying this money. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't you went off with me on this day about X, Y. Like, why do you just sit here and look this man dead in his eyes and say no? Like, you know what I'm saying? So they have to go through the process. Right. It took probably 5 sessions before I could even get her to have proper dialogue for the point that we even being here, and she still was. But so I think that's the part, is like, you know, ingrained and taboo, that they have to get past the stigmas with medication and talking to people. Cause even on my part-time job, this is really educating. I mean, he's got like I said, 2 degrees, and he's a teacher, and he's a really smart dude, strong African American male. But like, you know, I was talking to him about it, and I was like, yeah, man. Maybe at one point in time, we went to couples counseling. He's like, black people don't go counseling. Like, I'm like, that's the problem right there. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's like, the problem.
I can piggyback off of that too, because
black people,
being raised with me. My bad, bro. This is a lag in zone, but being raised with me, like, he know, like, my father, like, if I try to talk to him about, hey, pops, we need it. It's that old school mentality of, I don't need nobody to tell me how to be me. Just do the right thing and move on and trust in God. And like y'all were saying, and I really think that conversation needs to be had. I think we really need to start pushing, getting, you know, especially getting our kids to want to become therapists, so that we have people like us treating people like us, and then also being able to go and open up, because sometimes you just need somebody who don't know you with the unbiased mentality.
Yeah, you want an unbiased opinion. That's real, and that's the thing. Like, for me, with my son dealing with, you know, me and his dad divorcing, and, you know, just going through some of the things that he was exposed to, and, like, you know, your learning history, it starts when you're old enough to remember, and it carries on the rest of your life. So, you know, being able to, like, express his emotions and, like, not be so angry and internalize things and feel like it's not okay for him to react in a certain way because it's not manly. Like, I put him in therapy 4 months ago because I was like, I'm not raising an angry Black man. Like, I refuse. And I'm not raising somebody that's lazy. I'm not allowing you to settle. You know, we're going to handle this now, because you need to know how to express yourself. You need to make eye contact. You need to be a man. And you're 13, and it's just like, you know, I'll speak from being a single mom, and I'll speak from the aspect of raising my son, who had his mom and dad for the first 7 years of his life, and then bam, he does not have them anymore. You know, that dynamic and that what children experience in divorce is not something that is easily, you know, handled. And then if it's swept under the rug, like, oh yeah, they'll be able to, you know, they'll be resilient. Kids are resilient. They'll get through it. I'm like, they can't get through something they don't understand. Like, they don't understand why their mom and dad is not together anymore. Like, you know, and I'm like, and I don't want him to hate his dad. I don't want him to hate me. Like, I want him to love us both, because still love him. But it took us some time to, like, understand, like, the dynamic, because there was a lot of unresolved issues. But, you know, it took years. But I'm like, I want my son to know, like, I don't care what you go through in life. You don't make an excuse. You find a way. You make a way. And you apply yourself and take initiative. And, you know, I am real big on I have this quote, this scripture on their wall, both their walls, because like a man, like, basically a man who lacks discipline is like a wall. A city with no walls is like a man who lacks discipline. I forget what scripture that comes from, but I'm like, resiliency. Like, your mom is doing all this stuff by herself. You know, you don't have no excuses. we don't make excuses. And my son knows I don't play. Like, you're not making excuses. You're not going to be dependent on a woman. You're not going to go through and do what you saw in your mom and dad's relationship. Like, no, we're not doing any of that. So, man. But it starts with me.
Man.
It starts with me.
Look at him, boy. That's some powerful shit there. That's some goddamn powerful shit there, boy. You hit my soul with that one, boy. I ain't lying to you.
Hey, listen, man.
Hey,
listen, man.
Hey, you hit my soul with that one, boy. I ain't lying. So real quick, you know what? Nah, man, we gotta go ahead. It's time to switch topics, guys. Time to switch topics.
Okay.
Time to switch topics.
Did your brother leave?
Nah,
he's right here. Can you not see him?
John, did your? Oh, okay.
He's right there. He's right here.
Okay.
So, unless you guys have any more questions, man, y'all got any more questions? You know what I'm saying, to our special guest.
Go ahead, bro.
Special questions. I think she did very good.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
Do you have anything else you want to say, Tiff, on that subject that you might want to get out when speaking to our people about therapy and stuff? Okay, well let's have a little fun.
All right. Talk to us about life in Texas, man. What's going on in Texas, man? Like, what made you take the move?
I'm in North Carolina.
Oh, you in North Carolina? Oh, shit. I heard Texas the most.
I'm in North Carolina. Now, I moved to Texas.
Okay.
I moved to Texas in 2010. At that time, my son, he was one. His dad had just got stationed in Texas, so we went to live closer to him, and then I was a military wife for a few years after that, so I lived in a few places, and then in 2015 I relocated back to North Carolina.
Okay, all right, cool. I got you.
All right. Well, let me ask you this, because we got into why you became a psychologist. What people don't know.
A behavior analyst.
I'm sorry, a behavior analyst. What people don't know, you was an athlete coming through school. What sport you play?
Yeah. I just ran track.
Okay.
That's the only athletic ability that I have. I ran track. I ran the 400 and the 4x4.
So she can burn you. What she's saying is she can burn you, Chris.
You said what?
I believe it. After this Achilles surgery, man, I can't do too much in that. No, I retired.
Hey, bro, you trying to get in the beans with her? Get in them beans with her, bro.
Huh?
I was telling my bro, go ahead and get in them beans with her, see what he can do. I know I can do that. Shoot.
I can't do nothing with her, man.
She'll do 3 laps before I get 100 yards.
Yeah, she probably lap me. I ain't gonna count, man. Elizabeth City State, you mentioned the great alma mater, man. Elizabeth City Teachers College, Elizabeth City State, all that. What made you decide to go to ECSU?
I have an aunt that I'm really close to, and she was an alumni there. And growing up, I was always the token Black girl. All my friends were white. I didn't have any Black friends in high school. I didn't have a lot. I would say I had the majority of my closest friends in high school were white. I was always the weird Black girl, the one that hair was different, talked different. I was different. I was, I just chose a different way of life, and I talked different. So I didn't have a lot of Black friends, and I wanted to. So like with my aunt being an alumni of Elizabeth City State and me wanting to develop more relationships with Black people, I chose to go to an HBCU. And it was life-changing. Yeah.
Okay. So talk to me about your first experience at Elizabeth City State, man. Like first day on campus, orientation, party.
Culture shock. Like I have never been around so many Black people at one time in my life. Like it was an experience. Like it was a really good experience. I was sheltered. My mama did not play. Like I didn't go to parties. I didn't do anything. I was very sheltered. So when I went to college, like I didn't know like a lot. That was like when I think my first day on campus, a girl tried to talk to me. I'm like, they do that? Like girls try to talk to girls? Like that was like my first reaction. I was like, oh my gosh. Like it was so crazy how much I wasn't exposed to because my mom sheltered me like, you know, heavy. So with that, I also got pregnant my sophomore year in college. Went through my sophomore year pregnant. No, I got pregnant at the end of my sophomore year. Went back to my junior year. I was pregnant. So the first semester of my junior year, I was on campus pregnant. And then the second semester, I came back home to my mom's in North Carolina and did 2 classes online and an internship and had my son. And then my last year, my son's father's mom lived in Virginia. So she took my baby so that I can go back to school for my last year of school. And I went every weekend. And I was the friend that graduated before all my friends, and I had the baby.
Damn.
So it was my baby was. I always tell people I left Elizabeth City with a degree and a baby. You know, a degree and a baby.
Hey, Chris, let me interject because I gotta ask, bro.
Go ahead.
Rest in peace to the complex. What was your first experience with the complex like? Because my first experience with the complex was wild.
I mean, it wasn't bad. I kind of dated somebody that lived in the complex, so I would just go there. But I didn't like hang outside or whatever. I would just walk real fast to the room.
Hey, Chris.
Rest in peace to the complex. Rest in peace to the complex.
The hood.
Dang.
But nah, my first experience in the complex.
Right.
And Chris, you can probably talk about it.
Right.
Huh?
But I'm just saying, going to a HBCU, you see so much. And I'm like, this is literally the hood on campus. Like, wow.
Yeah.
People say, like, it's so funny. You don't. I wasn't expecting any of that. But I did, like, for my birthday, I would always pin $1 to myself and go around, like, getting money. And I always went to the complex. I knew everybody had ones out there. I was like, let's go to the complex first.
You're so proud. With red.
Yes.
Party out there, like I ain't no party.
Hey,
yes.
Hey, look, hey Chris, you can tell my first experience to the complex. I remember when I got down there. I think it was me, you, and somebody else. Chris went down there, and the first thing they did is somebody handed me a beer with a shot glass of liquor in it. Talking about chugged it. Then next thing you know, I done drank so much. I ain't trying to be funny, but it was a little white girl running around butt naked on campus. You remember that time?
I don't know.
That was the talking. I said, "Oh yeah, welcome to college."
What crazy?
Yeah, no.
Parties, man. What parties do you remember from college? Were you
William Hall?
Williams Hall, of course, Williams Hall, but is there anything that stood out? Like, was there a Q party, a Kappa party, an Alpha party?
Oh, the Kappa party for sure.
Is it
the Kappa parties? Yeah. The Pamper nights. The Pamper nights.
Oh Lord. That's what got her in trouble.
You know, I married a Kappa child. Married a Kappa.
Hey.
Oh Lord.
Divorce.
Kappas are some cool people. Like my friends. Yeah. If anything, I'd have been a Kappa. So I can't take that hate right there.
No, we're divorced now, but
damn.
Most of them are
but we're still friends. We co-parent. We're good.
Yeah,
we're good.
She the bus driver. She threw him up under. I said, "Good God."
We are good.
No, it's all right.
No, it's all right. Yeah.
Man. But yeah, man, like ECSU has some real good memories, man. I remember we talked about it one time before. I remember the Bloods coming on campus and beating everybody up. Remember that? Now you probably
what year was that? Now, okay, so I do remember
2008.
I remember the night that Butler got shot because I was actually pregnant and I had went to McDonald's because McDonald's, I say it wrong all the time, but I went to McDonald's to get some food because I was hungry and I was like 7 months pregnant, and I will never forget. I walked back, I got back to the suites, and I just saw a bunch of city boys, and I was like, Lord, let me walk real fast to my room before they grab my pregnant behind. So I went, I walked real fast. Them city boys ain't play. I was so nice every time they try to talk to me. How you doing? I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. But yeah, I remember that night because like soon as I got back in my room, that's when I started hearing gunshots, and Butler had got shot like right after I got back into my complex. I mean my suite. But yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy.
It was,
but,
man.
I mean, Elizabeth City gave me so much. Like it helped me form some really great relationships.
Yeah.
Right.
Really great relationships. And I would not take back the night that Barack Obama was elected. Like that will always be my favorite time at the university.
Man, that was
I was out there getting rained on, popping bottles, like screaming and crying. My president's black. I didn't even listen to that song, and I was like, my president is black. Like I was just like all in it.
Man. Yeah, the whole campus was lit that night.
That was a great time.
People driving their cars, drinking, all of us underage, just bottles everywhere. Ain't nobody checking for nobody. They was like, we got a black president. None of that mattered.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you though, because I didn't know until like a little bit after meeting you that you had a child. So when I tell you that snapback was real, I'll tell you about the first time. See, Tiff might not even remember the first time I met Tiff. I'm going to the cafeteria. Chris, I'm going to the cafeteria. I got on some sweatpants. I got my little bag because, you know, the cats like to shoot balls. So I got a little bag on with the back with the little straps on it. And I'm going to the calf. Yeah. I see this thing prancing through the yard.
He said prancing. God damn.
Prancing like Rudolph.
I was just walking.
She was jogging, prancing through the yard. I'm saying, hey, how you doing? Talking to her. Where you going? To the gym? Oh, I need to go with you. Come on. I'm like, hey, should I go? And, you know, I went to the gym. She in there working out. I was in there 5 minutes. I said, Lord, I done went to the gym because she went to the gym and I supposed to be going to the calf. Done missed the calf. But that was the first time. That's the first time I met Tiff. And
yeah.
That kicked off my summer, Chris, when I was doing 2 and 3 days that summer, because I mean it was just like I was trying to get back. It was like right at the time where I didn't play football no more. And I was going through my depression because that's all I knew. Like growing up, playing football was like one of the places I felt accepted as far as being a big kid. You know what I'm saying? So it took a while for me to be okay with that, because it's like, man, I can be accepted outside of that. But she kicked off my first start going to. Now I might need you to come prance by a little more because I need to get back in that gym.
Yeah, I mean, fitness is a lifestyle, so it's just one of those things where I've always been like, that's my stress relief. Like going to the gym, working out is how I relieve like my stress, and I've just always been big on like maintaining and keeping myself together.